Good morning. It is Sunday today, and on Saturday I'm going to a music festival, Golden Plains. I'm so excited. And last night, as I was trying to fall asleep, I was like, I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna knit something for the music festival to wear at the music festival. So that's what we're doing today. I've got like 5.5 days to do it, including a full work week. So we'll see if it is achievable. It's not going to be dire if it doesn't get done, but we're going to try nonetheless. So first things first, I've gone to my stash in my room and brought this little basket, and it's like I've gone for a little shop in my stash. So I've just picked out, actually, first thing to tell you is what I'm planning on making, which is some sort of shawl, bolero, maybe not a bolero, but like a cape, shawl, scarf thing. It's very warm in where I live at the moment. And I'm probably just gonna wear like a slip dress, like maybe like this, or not sure. I've got a few options, but what I would like to knit is something that I can put over the top if it gets a bit cooler in the evenings. I feel like a shawl is just like number one best thing to wear at a music festival, because you know, if it's sunny you can put it over your head, if it's cold you can wrap it around your neck, if you're getting overstimulated you can like kind of cover your ears and eyes. And I have something that I have worn when it's much cooler, which is like a thicker merino kind of thing, but because it's going to be really hot, I wanted something quite light, airy, a bit lacy potentially, to wear. So going with that sort of conceptual idea, I've picked out everything in my stash that looks sort of fluffy, mohair-ish, very thin lace weight mostly, and what I like to do is just sort of gather all the potential materials that I have and then have a think about, with those ingredients, I guess, what I could create. There's like lots of options of which route I could go for this. So maybe I'll move the camera a little bit so you can see a bit better. So now you can see sort of a hint at the chaos that I've got going on next to me. I'll just kind of flick through and have a think about what I could use for this project. So firstly, I've got this big bag, which is mohair. It's very ethereal looking and sort of light blues and some purples, which I quite like. I don't love the color and it is a little bit itchy though, so I'm not sure if it will be the best thing to have on my bare arms. So, and I also have shitloads of this, so it came off a full big jumper, so I'm kind of tempted to keep it for a big jumper, but I could use a bit of it now and it probably wouldn't even really make much of a dent. So that's an option, but when I feel it, oh, it's okay. I don't know, that's an option. Then I have this cone of fluff that I got from the op shop once, which could work, but again is a little bit itchy and the color is boring. I think I'm probably gonna wear like a white or a plain dress underneath it, so I feel like this is ruled out because you're basic. Then I have here a few balls of this lovely yellow. This is secondhand. I got it from my Oma. What are you? 50% mohair, 50% nylon, and it's that lovely butter yellow that I feel like everyone is looking at. It almost looks like it's got a halo on it with the light, which could be quite cool. I feel like it feels quite nice. I've got 4 balls of it, so that's definitely a contender. Although I don't think I look that good in this yellow, even though I feel like it's quite popular at the moment. Unsure. I have heaps of balls of this dark purple, which hasn't got a huge halo on it, but it's okay. It's 50% wool, 50% acrylic, so it's got no actual mohair in it, but it does have a bit of fluff to it. So I probably want to knit up a a swatch and see what it looks like. Ice yarns. Again, I got this from my Oma. And it is quite a nice dark color, dark purple color, which isn't something I really lean towards, but I have it, so could be good. These three in my mohair stash, but I won't be using for this project because it's going to be a bit quick and rough and ready, and I don't want to use my nice mohair in sort of a potentially shit project. So we're putting those aside. But I have, you know, a whole bunch of other sort of random mohair. That's kids silken mohair. That's quite nice, actually. That could be cool. Actually, oh, I thought the yellow was part of it, but that's for something else. It's quite soft. It's this pink one that I've knitted into a swatch of something else, but there's not much of this, so it would have to go with something else. So brown. I've made, this is some offcuts, leftovers from a jumper I made, which is pretty cool. Got this, which is super soft actually. They're two different colors. It's Angora wool, nylon, and casein, which I don't know what that is. But that has a lovely fluff to it. But there's only 2 balls again, so either I make it super gappy or mix it with something else. Like now I'm thinking could be blues together or like even a contrast. I'm not big into pink, but I do really like these orangey pink with the orangey kind of colors. This out, but I actually think it's going to be too thick. Don't know where this came from. I think it's probably acrylic. So maybe I'll put those aside too. Some other sparkly mohair, acrylic mohair and nylon. And a pink one. Some more of that sort of mermaidy color one, some white. And then there's another kind of, oh, that's scratchy. No, ugh, no, not using that. And then the other things I pulled out of the stash are not really like fluffy per se, but are lace weight yarns that I got from an offcut thing at the Wendigo Woolen Mills. And I thought like they're quite nice feeling. I think it might be alpaca, and it could be something that I hold throughout to if I change some colors around, or if I'm using very light lace weight yarn, that it could be provide some structural integrity. I'm not really sure. I don't know what I'm doing if that's not abundantly obvious already. I have heaps of this grey, so I might actually want to save that for some more substantial project because I have, you know, a significant amount of it. Can I? Yeah, like lots of these little lace weight yarns. Pretty sure they're all pure wool. So now I've got this sort of chaos next to me. I'm gonna have a bit of a play and get the needles out. I think I'm gonna try and use my biggest needles for the sake of expediency, and also to get that airy texture. I'll check back in with you about what I'm thinking after I do some tests and trials. You might want to like look away for a moment as your warning, but I've been trialing and I think I've come to some conclusions, so I'll talk you through that now. But like I just never want to cut off the edge of the yarn because I don't want to waste anything, so it's just absolute chaos here. But I did this, which is quite fun when I look at it actually through the viewfinder, but anyway, I just don't think it's quite right. This is a bit bright. this I don't mind, and this is quite ethereal and lovely, but I don't know, I'm just not sold on it, and I feel like it might be a little bit itchy right on the neck. I also tried briefly with the crochet hook because I was thinking that maybe then I could like create like lots of different sort of patterns and color, like blocks of color, a lot easier. But I hated doing that, so we're not gonna do that. Then I did this little swatch. So at the start, it was just this one single strand with 6mm needles. And then here I added one of the, what I think is alpaca little threads in the lighter gray. And then I tried it with this one and the lighter gray, and then this one and the darker gray. And then right at the top here, it's actually this and this and this all together. And I think even though it's a little bit of a denser fabric than I had imagined, I can play around with maybe some drop stitches or other sort of easy-ish lace techniques. I will wind all these back up and now think about what pattern I want to use. Last night I did have a look on Ravelry about patterns, and I just wasn't that inspired by anything. It was either like too technical and like very ornate, beautiful lace work, which is lovely, but firstly, I don't have the time, and secondly, I don't have the inclination. And thirdly, a lot of them are quite feminine, which I don't really want to lean into too much. So I'm kind of thinking maybe just like a rectangle could work. Oh my God, Eliza. I've just finished unraveling all of those little tests that I did, the little swatches, which took a little while because it was a bit of a mess. And so stupidly, I did not measure how big the swatch was. Which is kind of fine because it will just be a shawl. It can kind of be as long as it ends up being, and I will generally go by vibe. But that was pretty stupid. I just had a little break for lunch and I made myself a nice coffee, so I will be pinging shortly and knitting like the wind this afternoon. But while I was eating, I had a flick through this the Harmony Guide to Knitting Stitches, which is just like a bit of an encyclopedia of stitches, which I've found quite useful to like just get some inspiration. And I thought maybe it would be good to get an idea about a pattern that I could use throughout. And I was really inspired by a lot in here, but I'm also very conscious of the fact that we're on a deadline and it would just be typical me to overstretch and attempt something that was just like 100% not achievable. Already, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get this done. So that was playing on my mind a little bit. And then I had a stroke of genius. So when I was looking at that swatch and I watched the video again, I really do like how airy it is when it's just a single strand of the mohair silk. But I also wanted a bit more structural integrity and variation in the color to add those other two strands. But then I thought, instead of adding sort of texture and interest through lace pattern, what if I just did different stripes of variations of those 3 or 4 yarns? So maybe 1 yarn, 2 yarns, all 4, 2 blah 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 across the scarf. It will mean that it will warp a little bit, but I kind of like the idea of that very sort of organic feel. So I'm not going to shy away from that. And potentially also something I've been wanting to try, but I always am knitting in the round, but on this I'll be knitting back and forward. But what I really wanted to try was, is it called intarsia? I can't remember. The color work where you can kind of swap the yarns and then sort of make the colors go in different directions and knit different blocks. So with all that in mind, I'm going to cast on some stitches and then just go wild with whatever I feel like at the time, and we'll see what it looks like. It might be a massive hodgepodge mess. It might be fucking sick. We'll see. These are the colours. Alrighty, so it is Thursday afternoon. I've just finished off work and I have a little bit of progress, well, a bit of progress to show you guys on the scarf. It is pretty much, I think, as long as it kind of needs to be. I wish you could see. Oops, sorry, I just moved the camera. But essentially it's sort of, I might want it to be a little bit longer, but given that I only have like one day left to knit it, and I've been thinking for a while that this is not as wide as I wanted it. Like, it's definitely a scarf right now and I kind of wanted it to be more like a shawl, so, you know, I can put it over my head or whatever else. So what I think I'm gonna do, or what I am gonna do this, is cast off the end, and then I'm gonna cast on along the long side, the length of it on one side, and then go back and forward a few times and try and build up the width that way. Yeah, that is the update. So I will, yes, cast on and then just keep knitting as much as I can get done tonight. I don't have any, oh well, I'm going to the hairdresser now. We'll see if I can get any knitting done at the hairdresser. Not sure if I will, but then after work, after the hairdresser, I come home and do a bunch more knitting, and then I do have work tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't really have any meetings I can knit in, but I can do some before work and lunch and after work. Get as much as I can done because I do really want to block it before we go on Saturday, because it's just shedding like crazy right now, and because it's all secondhand or mostly secondhand yarn, I feel a bit weird about, I mean, obviously I'm wearing it on my neck right now, but like for prolonged time, I would really like to give it a wash before wearing it all day. Okay. It's so silly. Okay, so we're in the line and for the music festival, and the scarf is still not finished, so surprise, surprise. I think last time I said something was Thursday afternoon, and I said I was going to pick up stitches along the edge to make it wider, and I did that, and it took like, I reckon, over an hour. It was tedious. But since then we've done, thanks my house is silly. It's so silly. I've done a little bit, but not nearly as much as I wanted to, because going back and forward on this is fucking takes so long. Anyway, and also, okay, pretty ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking when I was like, oh, I'll do some knitting like after work on Friday. No, we had house sitters in. I had to clean the house. I had to pack the car. There was no time. So anyway, after all that was done, it was like 10 o'clock and I did like maybe 2 more rows. But I also really wanted to block it, but I wanted to maybe do some more knitting on it to make it bigger. So anyway, the solution I came up with was to just get all of my little cords and connect them to make the longest cord that I could, and then block it like that. And then I hung it up on my little balustrade thing, and so I could then pick up the knitting again, but most of it has been blocked and washed, and I can just finish it today or in the car right now. I think that's the whole update, and I'll let you know when I've finished. Okay, that's it. I gotta drive now.
Nah, 2 words, both 4 letters. Hey, there's stained glass windows, stained. Yeah.
Come on, Franco. We play rock and roll. This one's called Don't Worry. Turn around, 'cause this whole town is burning down. Wasted when you're not around. Baby, don't you cry no more. Baby, don't you.
Hello. Obviously we're back from Golden Plains now. It was amazing, so good. Yeah, just the best weekend. And I finished the scarf. It was quite cold on the Sunday morning, and then by the time I finished it, it got quite warm, but I did still get a chance to wear it for a little bit. And so I'm just show you how it turned out. So the edge, interestingly, I didn't really think about this at the time, but because of, I picked up pretty much every stitch along the long edge, it's almost created like this scalloped effect, which I'm not sure, like it kind of reminds me of like a ruffle, which is like maybe a little bit more feminine than I would usually lean, but kind of gives it like an interesting texture. And when I have it like up, I quite like how it kind of flays out. Reminds me of like a frill neck lizard, which is kind of fun. The light grey is also really soft, and the mohair silk was so soft and lovely, so that makes it really nice to wear on the neck. I'm really quite sensitive to some yarns, so particularly quite close to the neck I was kind of concerned, but this dark purple was the only one that's like a little itchy, but it's fine. It's another bit of intarsia with just, how do I show the back? Like this, that looks maybe a little janky, but it was just like a fun little practice. Some different techniques, another stripy section, another intarsia section. This is with 2 strands of the dark grey and just a single strand of the mohair. So it kind of almost looks a little bit to me like a stained glass window or something, like, because you can see through in different bits. And then that's the start. I didn't add heaps of length to the side, but I think it was just enough to make it that little bit wider. And also by doing this, it stopped the edge from rolling in too much. And you might have seen I put a little video of how aggressively I blocked it. Like I pinned it with pegs to hold it down because I really wanted it to be as wide as I could. So if you saw that and you're like, oh my God, like don't freak out, that was on purpose. And I've since blocked this and washed it again because, you know, it got like some beers and stuff spilled on it in the festival and it was a bit sweaty in the dance floor. The amphitheatre. I think that's all I have to say about it. It's done. I think when I wear it, it would be nice to have like a brooch or something because I like it best when it's sort of just on the side like that. It was really warm, which was like great because it's like packs down so small, but I think just because it's mohair and alpaca, it's just, yeah, super duper warm. You can even put it around twice. This kind of makes me feel like a cool art teacher who does tarot cards. I think all in all, a success in trialing a lot of different new techniques, using up yarn from my stash, although because it's so fine, I actually doesn't feel like a big dent. I still have more of the mohair and more of everything. And a fun thing to wear on the little bit of the Sunday that I was able to.